Welcome back to Off the Beaten Couch. This is the first video in the new series From Chaos to Calm, addressing the dynamics that occur in a family that is experiencing addiction. Even though I know that if you're listening right now, your life is not feeling very calm. If you're parenting, partnering with, or you love somebody who's battling addiction, chances are your nerves are raw and your heart feels like it lives in your throat. Most nights you probably lie awake worrying and wake up in the morning feeling as tired as you did when you went to bed the night before. I want to set aside the filters and the sugarcoating. Right now, I just want to sit with you and breathe with you and speak honestly about the overwhelming anxiety that accompanies loving somebody who is battling addiction. They're not just bad days. This is literally the air that you breathe. It surrounds you, it's constantly with you, and it never goes away. And as much as I can tell you that you're not alone, that there are other people experiencing this is the most isolating feeling that you can experience yourself. It's difficult to explain to people the constant worry and fear that you feel day in and day out. And we're going to go into that in this episode. Anxiety in families dealing with addiction isn't about just an occasional worry. It is a constant companion. You're never fully able to relax. You're never fully able to settle into the moment because your mind is always racing and waiting for the next red flag and the next shoe to drop. You scrutinize every little change, a missed text, a new friend, a comment made in passing. Maybe friends or extended family have made the comment of just relax in passing, not fully understanding that maybe friends or extended family have suggested to you or given you the advice to just relax, and you want nothing more for that to be possible. But when your home becomes ground zero for unpredictability, your entire system changes. Sitting still feels unsafe. You're always on alert, ready for sirens, secrets, and sadness. Sometimes you lie awake wondering, did I miss something? Could I have stopped this? The guilt you feel for this unfair burden being placed on your shoulders is absolutely overwhelming. And when this level of tension becomes your new normal, it's not just your mind that suffers, your entire body feels it. Maybe you have a lot of tension in your jaw, tightness in your chest, chronic headaches, and you're always running on adrenaline. Your mind is a busy intersection of rerunning old arguments, rehearsing future conflicts, and imagining the worst. Your patience wears thin. Sometimes you snap when you don't mean to, or isolate just to find a little bit of quiet. Things you once loved to do, finding little joys and moments in life, seem off limits, like you can't enjoy your life because your loved one is suffering. Tension is thick and conversations shift at home. Words are measured and everyone walks on eggshells. Or maybe the house is silent because you no longer have anything left to say, and then the tension becomes thicker. Your body is trying to keep you ready for anything. Living in this mode for too long is utterly draining. I want to break the silence around the specific fears that you carry, not the vague I'm worried, but the deep down truths that haunt you in quiet moments. There's the fear of loss. Most days you're able to push it aside, but there are those moments like when you see an ambulance in your neighborhood, or hearing sirens, or when there's no answer on the other line. The terror is unmistakable. What if I lose them for good? What if today is the day that everything ends? What if today is the day that everything changes? If your loved one is in recovery, there's the fear of relapse. Even on good days, when it seems like things are improving, you have that nagging voice in the back of your head. What if? Can I trust this? What if everything slips away tomorrow? You have learned to brace for disappointments while you're yearning for change. There's the fear of judgment and stigma. You worry about what would happen if people knew, like teachers and friends, neighbors. There's a persistent pressure to keep secrets, to carry all of this grief without letting it show. Sometimes it's less about what strangers think and more about the crushing feeling of being misunderstood if the people closest to you knew what was really going on. Then there's the fear of financial ruin. Maybe you see your savings slipping away. Maybe your addicted loved one is the key breadwinner in the home. Maybe you have to lock up your valuables. But you're always wondering if the next time you help will be the one that makes the difference, will be the one that convinces them to finally get some help and go into recovery. Yet deep down, you know that you can't buy your way into someone else's recovery. And the cost of all of this is beginning to feel unbearable. If you're caring for other children or vulnerable people in your home, there's a special kind of fear for them. Are they seeing too much, hearing too much, or learning too much that chaos is normal? You fear about who they might become and how this story might echo into their adulthood. At home, the fear of conflict and instability means you're always guessing. Will tonight be peace or war? You do your best to make the right choices, to avoid triggering a blow-up, but it feels like treading water in a storm. And running through everything is the fear of helplessness. The dawning realization that no matter how much you love, strategize, pray, beg, plead, cry, you can't control someone else's choices. It's a lonely feeling, unseen, unfixable, profound. These feelings and fears are a reflection of what life is like inside an addicted family. So what do you do with all of this? How do you cope with all of this? The sad reality of it is that sometimes you just have to cope with all of it. You can't fix people who don't want to be fixed. You can't help people who don't want to be helped. You try to love them the best way that you know how, and sometimes that's not even enough. Sometimes they make it very clear that that's not enough, and it's very hurtful. There are words that are said that can't be unsaid. There are feelings that are felt that can't be unfelt. There are worries that can't be unworried. All of this sticks with you, and it's so difficult to be present when your mind is racing through the what ifs, going back over things to see what you missed. It's difficult to be present when you're imagining what the future could or would look like if things don't change or if things could change. So there's a concept in dialectical behavioral therapy that speaks about radical acceptance. And radical acceptance is kind of like letting yourself off the hook for things that you have no control over. It's accepting that things are the way that they are. The mantra, I didn't cause it, I can't control it, and I can't cure it, gives you permission to stop blaming yourself for something you never had power over. It's a gentle reminder that your instinct is to help, but you can't force someone else's healing. Worry takes over, monopolizes your entire day. It hijacks everything that you're doing. You can be cooking dinner, you can be grocery shopping, you can be driving down the road, and your mind is going through every single scenario that has happened or could possibly happen. But try carving out a small window during the day to give yourself space and time to worry. You are intentionally letting your worries have the stage. Maybe you give yourself 10, 15 minutes after dinner, before bed, in the morning, in the afternoon, whenever feels best for you, whenever you have time to allow this to happen. You can journal, rant, pray if it suits you, meditate, scream, go for a drive, open your windows, turn on your music really loud, give yourself time to worry. Maybe you do it while you're folding laundry. Whatever works for you, but only this window of time is when the worry has the stage. If worry tries to show up any other time, acknowledge it. Tell it, not now. We're going to get to this later. This is about containing, not suppressing your anxiety. It's hard to stay present when your mind runs through all the what ifs, the doubts, past regrets, and future catastrophes. Staying grounded in the present is something that can be difficult to do, even if your life isn't filled with all this worry, even if you don't have somebody who is struggling with addiction. When you notice yourself spiraling, I want you to anchor into your senses. Let's try this now. So let's just take a breath and just let it go. And look around the room that you're in and notice 5 things you can see. Name them. And maybe as you're naming them and noticing them, you notice the detail of them. This helps to anchor you further into your senses. And once you name 5 things that you can see, name 4 things that you can feel. Again, notice the texture, the temperature, how it feels on your skin, how it feels to you, just noticing it. Maybe you notice your hair. Maybe you notice a necklace that you're wearing. Maybe you notice how tight your shoes are. Maybe you notice what it feels like to sit or what it feels like to have the ground beneath your feet. Just notice. Name 3 things that you can hear. And maybe if you don't hear anything, you make sounds. And notice them. Notice how they feel in your ears. Notice if they're high-pitched or low-pitched. Really anchor into what it is that you're experiencing with those senses. Name 2 things you can smell. And again, if you can't smell anything, find something you can smell. Now name 1 thing you can taste. And notice how it feels in your mouth. And when you're done noticing, take another deep breath and exhale like you're blowing through a straw. Let your shoulders drop, let your jaw unclench, and see how you feel. These practices gently nudge your nervous system back to calm, back to noticing what safety feels like, what security feels like, just one moment at a time. Remember, if you've become accustomed to navigating chaos, calm and safe and peace aren't going to feel calm, safe, or peaceful. Something that is essential when you are navigating these storms within an addicted family system is setting boundaries and safety planning. Write out what is and isn't okay for you. Maybe that's about money, visitors, what is or isn't allowed in the house. Think about situations that make you feel unsafe and plan ahead. Who would you call? Where would you go? Boundary setting is survival, and it models for others what healthy care looks like. Try putting together a care team for yourself. Find at least one person. Maybe it's a therapist or a friend or a support group that you can join, where you can lay down the mask. You really don't have to go through this alone, and finding resources, sometimes depending on the area that you're in, can be difficult, but there are online resources where you don't even have to participate or turn on a camera. You can just be there with people who know exactly what you're going through. Connection isn't a luxury, it is a lifeline when you are going through something like this, when you are navigating the chaos of an addicted family system. Establish micro routines for self-rescue. Maybe it's stepping outside for some fresh air, going for a walk, savoring a few sips of coffee or tea, listening to music. Carve out slivers of normalcy and self-kindness in the midst of uncertainty. Again, I'm going to go back to self-compassion. Remember that what you're carrying is extremely heavy. When that self-criticism kicks in, I should be stronger, I should be able to handle this. Try acknowledging to yourself that you're doing the best that you can and you're showing up every day. And if you can't find it for yourself yet, borrow some from somebody who does have compassion for you, even if it's just for a moment. Sometimes the anxiety that you feel tells you that you have to solve all of these problems in one day, but you don't, and you can't. Taking some time to establish some type of normalcy or peace in your life can help establish some calm in the middle of all of the chaos. And sometimes the bravest thing that you can do and the most healing thing that you can do is just to admit that you're scared. It's okay. Of course you're scared. Why wouldn't you be scared? It's a scary time. And depending on what you're going through with your addicted loved one, it can be scarier than anything you've ever experienced before. And there's not a template. There's not a handbook of how to navigate any of this. So you being here and reaching out and looking for resources for yourself so that you're not caught up in your addicted loved one's storm is the best thing that you can do for you so that you can make the best decisions for you in moving forward. Even if the only thing that you do today is to notice your breath, that's still progress. You're still connecting with yourself. And when you are living in this constant chaos, the threat of disconnecting from yourself is very real. In the next episode, we're going to talk about the urge to control and the reality of helplessness. How to find freedom in knowing where your responsibility ends, and how to hold on to yourself even as you hope for your loved one's change. If you need support right now, you can call SAMHSA at 1-800-662-HELP. You can look online for Al-Anon family groups. smartrecovery.org has meetings for family and friends, and the National Institute on Drug Abuse has family support resources. Remember, this episode is here for information and support, but it's not a substitute for professional help. If your anxiety feels unmanageable or you need immediate support, please reach out to a licensed provider or emergency services in your area. Thank you for being here and for showing up for yourself in the hard places. I'll see you next time.